It's good.
Yeah, good little cup of coffee. And here's the kit. This comes in the kit. This is a coffee. It comes with a little, cream and sugar and stuff. You can put anything else in the morning. 2 little cups, 2 little spoons.
Here, I'll
You're going to pour some more?
Yeah.
This just started perking not 6 minutes ago, so be careful.
Joan has the old stuff. I have the new stuff.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah, boy, this is espresso.
Yeah, it's espresso.
It's strong.
That's right.
It's
so
espresso.
It's supposed to be strong.
So it's thick.
It's called Velox.
It's good.
Once again, it is
coffee.
$109. Okay?
Just coming to a retailer near you.
Absolutely. And Good Morning America will be back there in just a moment. It's kind of cool, though. Look at that.
Officials debate the question, how much of a voice should Kimberly Mays have?
Then a little later on, a breakthrough treatment for cystic fibrosis is approved. And don't forget, as we also promised, the supermodel of the world will be with us. We'll be back.
And the gender imbalance continues. Travel provided by Continental.
The case of a 14-year-old girl who wants a divorce from her biological parents.
Of course, the one opinion that will count the most in the Kimberly Mays case is that of the judge. But as he hears evidence, questions are being raised about the very right of this poised teenager to bring her case to court. So what are the legal rights of children? And is a court the best place to settle this kind of dispute? In this half hour, our legal editor, Arthur Miller, and the officials of children's and family rights groups debate the agonizing problem. Right now, though, we'll take a look at the weather, and hopefully it's not as agonizing.
Not agonizing, but beware. If they haven't arrived where you are yet, they'll probably get there by this weekend. We're talking about the dog days of summer. Those lazy, hazy, hot days commonly associated with August. And guess which month we're in? So we'll tell you all about that in this half hour.
Also ahead this morning, a new drug therapy that's being advanced as a very encouraging treatment for cystic fibrosis. We'll have an update on that. Plus, high tech meets the amusement arcade in what could be called virtual world. And Spencer will take us where no mortal has ever been before and will cause everyone on the set to say,
gee whiz.
Thank you.
And we will also have the new supermodel of the world. But right now, Morton Dean has all the news of the day. Good morning, Mort.
You bet, Nancy. Good morning. First the victory, now the signing, but the sales pitch will go on. President Clinton signs the new budget into law today, and he's expected to continue to promote its value to the public. A new ABC News Washington Post poll indicates the public is skeptical. Only 43% of our sample approve the new budget, while 48% say they disapprove it. And Mr. Clinton's job rating is low, 45% approving, a new high of 51% disapproving. And joining us now from the White House is ABC's Walter Rogers. Walt, the fact that the president is still stumping for the budget means he knows the public is skeptical.
That's true, Mort, but remember, statistically, the president's position in terms of public approval and disapproval rating has not changed at all since May. The public cannot be expected to cheer over having to pay higher gas prices, but if you look at that poll a little more closely, you can see Mr. Clinton did indeed get rather good marks for his handling and concern that he demonstrated about the Mississippi River floods, and his foreign policy rating is improving a little. One of the things that you should also consider is read the fine print in that poll. There's very little solace for Republicans to take in this poll. By a 3-to-2 ratio, most Americans polled suggest that the Republicans are playing politics with this and that they have no constructive answers.
Let's move on to the day at the White House. The president is going to have a busy day and a historic day.
Indeed, the president today signs into law that tax increase and the budget reduction package, and that he will clearly claim as a victory. At the White House today, we also have the swearing in of Judge Ginsburg for the Supreme Court. And one thing you should also look at, the president will come off this week on a further high. He's going to meet the Pope in Colorado later this week.
Thank you all. Walter Rogers reporting from the White House. A sad journey for the head of the CIA. James Woolsey traveled to Tbilisi, Georgia this morning. He'll claim the body of an American who was shot and killed there yesterday, Fred Woodruff. Published reports say Woodruff was a CIA agent and was helping to train Georgian security police. Forceful action. That's what Secretary of State Warren Christopher says NATO is prepared to take if Bosnian Serb forces don't back down. Yesterday, NATO leaders held an emergency meeting in Brussels and gave their okay to airstrikes on the Serbs. The United Nations Secretary General still has the final say. ABC's Hillary Brown reports from Sarajevo that Bosnian Serb forces have yet to retreat from a mountain outside the city.
French UN troops have been clearing mines along the road to the strategic Mount Igman. These are anti-personnel mines, once known as bouncing betties. A UN squadron, about 150 men, is now deployed in the mountain area as the first phase of an agreement for Serb withdrawal and their replacement by UN forces. The UN says the Serbs have pulled out of Mount Bjeliznica, the Olympic peak above Mount Igman. Today, the UN confirmed that the Serbs blew up this communications tower before leaving. But spokesman admitted that the Serbs have not pulled out of Mount Igman, the critical peak that controls the Muslims' last supply line for arms and ammunition into Sarajevo, and that there is no deadline for any such withdrawal. So the critical area, which is Mount Igman itself, is still occupied by Serb forces.
That's right.
And you don't know when they'll pull out?
No.
What this means is that UN troops acting as monitors are now side by side with Serb forces on the strategic heights above Sarajevo. They deny that they're there as human shields against any possible airstrikes. But their presence there could make any air campaign that much less likely. Hillary Brown, ABC News, Sarajevo.
Little Irma is waking up in more peaceful surroundings this morning. She's the seriously wounded 5-year-old girl airlifted from Sarajevo yesterday and taken to a London hospital. She was operated on almost immediately to remove shrapnel from a Bosnian Serb mortar attack last month that killed her mother. Prime Minister John Major was reportedly so moved by her plight that he arranged for the evacuation. And finally, the Heidi Chronicles, the other Heidi Chronicles. Heidi Fleiss, the woman accused of running a high-priced Hollywood call girl ring, faced the media as well as the court yesterday. We get the story from ABC's Ron Claiborne in Los Angeles.
Heidi Fleiss had to run a frenzied media gauntlet just to get into the Los Angeles criminal courthouse.
Turn around, just give us a smile. Go, let's go.
Once safely inside a courtroom, she pleaded not guilty to felony charges of running a prostitution ring and possession of cocaine. She was allowed to remain free on $100,000 bail.
Many people in the film industry are reeling this afternoon over...
It was just the latest installment in the Heidi Fleiss saga that for the past week has been the news story in Los Angeles, and especially Hollywood.
You've got sex, you've got drugs, you've got attractive women, you have corporate intrigue, and you have got very well-known actors. What else do you need?
Fleiss was arrested last June, caught in a police sting investigation into organized prostitution. Fleiss's call girl ring was allegedly the biggest in town, with a star-studded clientele. Her arrest has reportedly led Columbia Pictures to investigate rumors that some of its top executives used company funds to hire Fleiss's prostitutes. What may never come out of this brewing scandal are the names of Fleiss's alleged customers. Police say they won't divulge their identities, and so far Heidi Fleiss isn't talking. Ron Claiborne, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And that's the news on the hour. Back to Nancy and Spencer.
Thanks very much, Mort. It's now 7, almost 8 after the hour. Spencer has an update on what's going on in the national weather forecast. And the word of the day is muggy.
Muggy is right.
Expected today in the Kimberly Mays case. The 14-year-old Florida girl was switched at birth with Arlena Mays, who died of a heart defect in 1988. It was only then that the mistake was discovered, and now Kimberly is trying to cut all ties with her biological parents who want visitation. It is the latest in a series of recent cases that pit the legal rights of a child against the legal rights of parents.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Have a seat up there.
When a child goes into court, it is often because adults are at war. But the battle over 14-year-old Kimberly Mays has a third party to the legal dispute, Kimberly herself, who was granted legal standing before the court that will decide her fate.
If you could be granted one wish that would make you happier than anything else in the world, what would that wish be?
Terminating their parental rights and getting my life back.
Other recent cases highlight the way children are treated under the law. The case of 2.5-year-old Jessica DeBoer was decided only on the basis of parental rights. No lawyer argued the toddler's case before the judge, and she was taken away from the Michigan couple who raised her and sent to live in Iowa with her biological parents. But in the Florida case of Gregory K., the court recognized the legal right of a 12-year-old to sever ties with his biological mother so that he could be adopted by his foster parents.
Gregory, you're the son of Mr. and Mrs. Russ at this moment.
It was the Gregory K. case that inspired Kimberly Mays to approach the court so that her voice could be heard. And again, Kimberly Mays being switched with Arlena Twigg at birth. Now, should children have legal standing in a court of law that is deciding their future? Joining me now is David Lederman, Executive Director of the Child Welfare League of America, which represents organizations that address the needs of abused and neglected children. Christy Hamrick is Press Secretary for the Family Research Council, a conservative policy and lobbying group on family issues. Also joining us is our legal editor, Arthur Miller. And we welcome all of you. Let me start with the Kimberly Mays case, since everybody's talking about it. I mean, should the court consider her thoughts and her rights when deciding this case?
Absolutely. You used a very important word, Joan. You said consider. The issue really is, should children be heard? Should they be represented? Should they have legal status? And it's very difficult for me to believe in the year 1993 that we don't understand our Constitution applies to any person, whether they are 1 year of age, 21 years, or 81 years of age. People occasionally get confused and think that just by giving Kimberly the ability to be heard, that the system must obey what she wants. That's a very different question. Her fate will be decided by the judge.
Christy, would you disagree with that?
Absolutely, I would disagree. We have seen divorce as a destructive element in society, and to bring this new wedge into the family is a very big negative. It's not that Kimberly shouldn't be heard, because she should be heard. But the problem here is that the child is being forced to be the adult, and the adult are being let off the hook, because traditionally we have seen in these kind of cases adoption, termination of parental rights. This isn't new. What's new is to let the parents take a back seat, and instead of them making their role as responsible actors.
But this is a 14-year-old. I mean, I think a lot of people are surprised that a 14-year-old's rights would even...
It's not really forcing her to have a back seat. Basically, what we're trying to do is create a level playing field. And what's happened over the last 20 years, Joan, is that we have moved more in the direction of a level playing field, beginning with the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act in the early 70s, which mandated that if the states were going to take the federal money, that they had to have a guardian ad litem system in place. And that was...
So you're saying the level playing field allows that child to have representation?
Level playing field would not only allow representation, but we would go further. In the case of Kimberly, in the case of Gregory K., they had their own lawyers, so it was more of a traditional lawyer-client relationship. And we believe when a child's old enough, when a child is, at the age of reason, is mature enough, that the child ought to have their own attorney.
No.
And certainly be in a position to be on equal footing with the adults.
Why should a child not have the same rights and the same protection in a court, Christy, as an adult has?
The child has more protection than an adult, because the child should be seen as protected within the context of the family. I mean, I know when I was 14, I thought I knew everything an adult knew, but I didn't.
But didn't you deserve the same protection
I
as an
deserve
adult?
to be heard, but I don't deserve, and deserve is the wrong word. Parents and adults need to act on behalf of children. And the whole idea, as my legal expert at the Family Research Council said, we're going to create a Jurassic Park of lawyers, we think, for this small area, but it's going to expand, and they're going to take off.
But don't sometimes those parents, particularly in a custody battle, have their own agenda, and sometimes...
Absolutely, Joan. Keep in mind that this isn't simply a battle between Kimberly and her biological parents. This is a five-way battle. You have two sets of parents here. Now, which one is going to speak for Kimberly?
That's right.
So we recognize the fact that she has her independent status. She should be able to speak for herself. Look, we have a case in California right now in which you have one woman and one man fertilize an egg. The egg is implanted in a host mother who will give birth to the baby, which will then be adopted by a fourth and fifth set of parents. Now, you tell me who the parents are, and you tell me why in 10 years' time that now little egg, which will be a 10, 12, or 14-year-old, doesn't have independent status.
And let's look at the Jessica DeBoer case. I mean, there it seemed to me like the courts were really treating the child as a property.
Sure.
And it was a dispute that was kept.
And Jessica never had her own attorney from
That's
the very
right. She was not heard
from the
in that
very
ball.
beginning.
Right.
She did at a point, and it's absolute case in point. In Jessica's case, she certainly was not old enough to have standing in court as Kimberly should have. But she should have had her own attorney from the beginning. And in any case where there's a custody dispute or in a parental right, in determination of parental rights, children should have their own attorney who's looking out for the best interest of the child. Adults say they're looking out for the best interest of the child. You know, it's a joke what you're saying, Christy, because what you're saying is that adults who are saying that they're looking out for the best interest of the child, really what they're looking out for is their own best interest.
You have more faith, I think, in a new breed of lawyers with power than I do. I see termination of parental rights has been done for years. Adoption is not new. But parents need to know that their children need protection, and the courts intervene when that doesn't happen. That has worked.
All right, let me turn the table.
Sure.
What people are worried about is that you're going to open up the door here to kids being able to be angry at the parents or whatever and say, I want to divorce you.
Absolutely.
That's such nonsense. First of all, you have to file a lawsuit. Second of all, you have to get an attorney. I mean, there are things that you have to do to get into the court system.
So the protections are there?
Well, there are some protections there.
You always have to keep in mind it's the judge.
Sure. Yeah.
It's the judge who is the only neutral on the playing field.
And the judge has always been there, but this divorce attorney for children thing opens a heinous door for kids.
It's also the commercial break, and I've got to jump out here for a second, but we'll come right back and we'll continue this discussion. Is there a particular age?
Joan, there really isn't. It really is a judgment call. It has to do with, can you reason? What's the level of maturity? Do you understand the issues? And certainly in the Gregory K. case and in the Kimberly case, he was 12. He was 12. She's 14. It could be a 10-year-old. Actually, the Florida law says any person. It should have the right to appear in court on their own behalf. So it doesn't even stipulate an age, so it really is a judgment call.
But these cases are wedge issues that attorneys are using to make a whole new kind of vision between parents and children. Just last week, the Wall Street Journal reported that the ABA was calling on lawyers who deal with children's issues to do more pro bono work, to get more involved, and to push the envelope of their authority.
Well, these attorneys aren't making up these situations, and it seems like we have to look at them case by case.
That's a very important point. If you look at the cases we've seen in recent times, they're mostly highly unusual cases.
Yeah, very unusual.
Jessica is an incredibly complicated case because you've got two states and a father who didn't know he was a father. Kimberly is a once-in-a-lifetime case, switched at birth. The only case that's sort of in the mainstream is Gregory K. And I don't see 1,000 Gregory Ks. The notion that the floodgates of litigation will open, that lawyers are going to be out on the street looking for children to divorce, I think it's just ludicrous.
Then let me ask and put a question out here.
John, let me respond to this ABA thing, because the ABA is to be commended, okay? And one of the things that really needs to happen is that we need to develop a cadre of lawyers in this country who are really skilled in this area. If you're going in a divorce court, you get a divorce lawyer. If you need a criminal lawyer, you get a criminal lawyer. We're in the age of specialization where we have lawyers that really become experts in particular areas of the law. There's no way that my friend Christy here, she's on my left, but she's on my right, to my right, would ever go in a court without having good, strong legal representation.
But the point is,
there's no way that a child,
not what's best for you.
But how can you know what's best for kids if the child
with good representation?
What we know is through the history of law and the history of families that there are some things which are true. Children generally do best with their natural parents. Molestation rates, abuse rates are higher. And for that reason, we assume the parents are innocent or competent until proven guilty. These cases open up an opportunity for lawyers to go in and judge whether the parent is the best.
You are so inconsistent. This notion of history. History gave us slavery. History gave us centuries of women who didn't know what was best for them because their husbands knew better.
Joan,
in 1993, the notion that a child is not a human being, that a child shouldn't be protected, that a child should not be heard. That's all we're talking about. Should the child be heard is...
Children have been heard
the Family Research,
I gotta jump out.
The Family Research Council
is a great group.
Has opposed.
It's a big world. and no one helps kids grow into it healthy and strong.
Executive Officer of the National Baptist Publishing Board. And we're here to say, Good morning, America.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Nancy Snyderman.
And I'm Joan Lennon. It's Tuesday. It is August 10th.
This morning, we are very happy to report that there is finally some hopeful news concerning cystic fibrosis. An advisory committee of the Food and Drug Administration has approved the first new drug therapy in 30 years. And while this is not a cure, it does offer great hope to children and young adults who are the principal victims of this disease. In this half hour, we will learn more about this treatment from the president of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, whose son also suffers from CF.
And also, from the high-tech world of virtual reality to an amusement center near you, here comes Virtual World. For a couple of bucks, you can transport yourself to the 31st century, and Spencer will be our guide. And then, as promised, the new supermodel of the world. Right now, the Morton Dean has the latest news for us. Mort.
Thank you, Joan. The new budget becomes law today. The president will sign it. Many Americans have not signed on to it, though. An ABC News Washington Post poll indicates the public is as closely divided on the budget as the Congress was. Mr. Clinton is trying to drum up more public support. He told a crowd in West Virginia yesterday that the budget is a first major step toward a stronger economy. And he asked for more bipartisanship in Congress to tackle other problems. The president can celebrate another Capitol Hill victory today, the swearing in of his choice for the U.S. Supreme Court. Ruth Bader Ginsburg will be the 107th justice and the second woman to sit on the nation's highest court. An unwelcome arrival in Taiwan, a 30-year-old Chinese man is under arrest, charged with hijacking an Air China flight. 150 people were on the plane as it flew from Beijing to Indonesia. The alleged hijacker threatened to pour acid on some passengers. The man, who could face the death penalty, said he would rather die in a free country than live in communist China. The 5-year-old Bosnian girl named Irma, who was airlifted out of Sarajevo yesterday, is in stable condition in a London hospital this morning. But there are many others who are in need of treatment who were left behind. Here's Jeremy Bowen of the BBC.
11-year-old Edem Dedepovic needs extensive reconstructive surgery. His facial bones were smashed by the shell, which took away his left eye. He needs therapy as well to overcome shrapnel damage to the nerves in his right arm. His doctor says he has no chance of getting the treatment he needs in Sarajevo. Since he was wounded, Edem doesn't like going outside. He's terrified of the shelling and sniping, which is part of daily life here. He said he was riding his bicycle when he heard the whistle of a shell. He picked himself up, saw he was bleeding, and rushed to the police station. The first man who saw him ran away in horror.
The problem here isn't UN bureaucracy. It is that countries like Britain aren't prepared to pay the costs of transportation, medical treatment, and for the support of the families who must accompany these children. Until they do that, the children will stay here.
There are too many of them. Amra, a 14-month-old baby girl, has a spinal tumor. Her evacuation has been approved. She'd die otherwise, but there's nowhere for her to go. The UN hopes that will be changed by the publicity about Irma Hadjimuratovic, who was flown to London yesterday.
There are something like 30 or 40 similar cases of people in desperate need of medical treatment they cannot receive in this city, who are ready to travel if only we had similar offers of beds and transport to make it possible.
The list is growing longer. Amar Nevesinyats, who's 10 and a half, has shrapnel lodged near his optic nerve. His parents were told this morning that he'll lose his eye unless he can get to a hospital far away from this war. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Sarajevo.
The children of war. And that's the news on the half hour. Here's Spencer with a look at the weather. Spence.
All right, Mort, here's how things are shaping up today. High temperatures around the nation will be generally in the comfort zone, with the exception of the central and northern plains here, where highs will be well into the 90s. Bit of a heat wave all the way up into the Dakotas. In fact, down in the southern plains, it'll be hot as well, but it generally is this time of year. Of course, some areas of the desert southwest will see highs in the 100s. The outlook calls for a mostly sunny day in the western half of the nation, but this monsoonal flow of moisture up from Mexico into the southern Rockies will produce another day of afternoon.
Can't sip up? Well, after a month of rich chocolate almond and
20 till the hour. A Food and Drug Administration committee has approved the first new drug for treatment of cystic fibrosis in 30 years. Joining us this morning from Washington to explain what this new drug will mean for the 30,000 Americans afflicted with CF is Robert Dressing, president of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and the father of one of the young men involved in the clinical trials for the drug. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Would you please tell me what this drug is and sort of what it's taken to get it even this far?
Sure. It's basically a drug that has the ability to liquefy this very thick and sticky mucus that's within the cystic fibrosis patients. It's a drug it's an enzyme that's commercially developed and has been in process for over 5 years.
It is not a cure for cystic fibrosis, but a treatment, correct?
That's absolutely true. It's not a cure, but what we need in the treatment of this disease is something that will help us put these children that are anxiously awaiting the ultimate therapies, which are being developed. Gene therapy is the ultimate cure for cystic fibrosis, and we are working feverishly on developing that. But we need something to provide for these children who are in the trenches battling this disease every day.
We should probably let people know that this really affects the lungs, the thick mucus that clogs the lungs, and then infections are still a constant problem for young people with CF.
That is exactly the case. The mucus is really causing two problems. One, it's blocking the airways and thereby decreasing the lung function. But in addition to that, it's creating the environment that allows the bacteria that would be washed from yours and my system to breed and cause the reinfections that destroy the tissue.
Tell me about the trials. Your son was one of the people who took a medication and up front didn't know really whether it was the drug or a placebo.
That's correct. He was very excited about being picked to be included in the trial, but soon knew that he was receiving placebo. And that's because the kids, when they would get together at clinic and compare notes, knew who was on the drug and who was not, because the effect of the drug was that dramatic in those patients that were receiving it.
Did they stop the study early then because everyone started to figure out that the drug was effective?
No, they did not. It went the full course of 6 months. At the end of that time, all of the patients were then put on drug, and it was then that Rob, for the first time, received the DNase drug, and the effect on him was rather dramatic.
When do you think this drug will be available? And obviously only an advisory committee now has recommended that it get approval, but usually the FDA follows the advisory committee pretty quickly. Do you expect this to get resolution?
Yes, we do. The exact time we're not sure of, but we would guess that before the end of this year the drug would be available.
Any idea about the cost?
No, that's still to be determined.
I assume that people should start talking to their physicians now, though, and sort of getting ready for its availability?
Well, it would be very important for the cystic fibrosis patient population to contact the Cystic Fibrosis Center where they're receiving their treatment and begin discussions with their doctor as to whether or not they would be eligible for treatment with this drug.
And again, the name of the medication is?
Pulmozyme.
Pulmozyme, and should be hopefully on the market soon. And the future of cystic fibrosis right now, in addition to these new therapies, still lies in gene therapy?
Well, we believe that it is. That would be the ultimate therapy that would treat all of the symptoms. Basically, a drug like Pulmozyme is treating one of the symptoms, one of the most important symptoms. But we need to treat the full spectrum of the disease, which we believe gene therapy would provide.
Robert Dressing, thank you for being with us. And please wish your son our best as we wait for this drug to really hit the market for all the people who have cystic fibrosis. I know this is a very, very good news they've been waiting for.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. It's coming up on 42 after the hour. Next, high tech meets the amusement arcade when Good Morning America continues right here on ABC.
Tomorrow on Good Morning America, singer Robin S. Hot sounds from a mayor's secretary.
Well, it's time now to enter the brave new world of fun and games, and who better to do that with than Spencer Christian, who has already found the very latest in playtime adventures. Spence?
Well, Nancy, you know how important playtime is to me. Let me tell you, when I was a kid, if you had imaginary playmates and fantasy islands, they remained in your imagination, or people thought, woo! But today, one person's fantasy can become almost a reality. In fact, I found a place where the world of virtual reality meets the funhouse. It's a gee whiz kind of place that you almost won't believe. First came the amusement arcades with mechanical games like pinball. Then the video arcades with computerized games like Pac-Man and Super Mario. Well, prepare yourself for the arcade of the future. It's called Virtual World. Billed as the first digital theme park, Virtual World in Walnut Creek, California, offers players a chance to compete against each other in a computer-created environment, or virtual reality. Whether it's racing through the canals of Mars or battling giant mechanized warriors, the idea is to marry high-tech with good theater.
It's interactive theater because every time you play, it's something different. You control the experience. It's not you against the computer, it's you against another human being.
Attention, all pilots for Mission Alpha 1, report to departure area.
The half-hour adventure costs about $8. Players are treated like fighter pilots. First, they're briefed on their mission by watching a slickly produced instructional video.
Oh, God, no one!
Press the red button to go forward, full throttle. Never stand still in combat.
These virtual world adventurers are about to travel into the 31st century to battle robotic monsters on the planet Solaris 7.
Phase transition in 3, 2, 1.
While each pilot controls his own virtual reality pod, they can play together as a team or individually. Either way, it's a shared experience.
You can run, but you can't hide.
All right, Weasel, you're going down.
You guys are history.
When people come in and experience a virtual world together, you're teasing them, you're joking with them, and so it's a very interactive social environment that we've developed here. It's a strange phenomenon.
It's the first time. You guys were fighting. I didn't die well. No, we were shooting you on that.
Who knew intergalactic combat could be so easy?
After the game, players gather to review their scores and strategies.
You set yourself into another space. It's another universe where you're a different person. It's great.
Virtual reality technology is still in its early stages, but that isn't stopping the folks here at Virtual World from having a real blast. Kind of neat, huh?
Well, will they think up next? Yeah. Are these centers going to be any place else in the country or just sort of stay up?
Well, during the next year, there are plans to open them in New York, L.A., and San Diego, although it's believed by many that L.A. already has one. It's called Hollywood.
Oh, he's out of control again, folks. Thanks, Spence.
Okay.
Okay, now, as we promised before, let's find out just who is the 1993 supermodel of the world. This is the moment for the envelope, please.
And the supermodel of the world is...
Don't go away. We will tell you, and you will meet the next big winner. And Good Morning America continues right here.
Is Veronica Bloom from Spain.
What a moment for Veronica Bloom. Just a few days ago, this 16-year-old from Spain topped 38 women from around the globe to become this year's Ford Supermodel of the World. And she's in good company. The Ford modeling agency has given its start to such famous beauties as Christy Brinkley, Candice Bergen, Kim Basinger, Sharon Stone, and many, many more. Veronica joins us, though, this morning, as does Katie Ford, co-president of Ford Models Incorporated. Nice to have you here.
Good morning.
Congratulations to you. Excited?
Thank you. Really excited.
Yes. First of all, let's talk. Why a contest like this? Because I know you guys get pictures and resumes and portfolios every day. It seems like you'd have to like weed through them and you'd have more than you could handle.
We get about 30,000 pictures a year, and even so, we're looking for new models. It's just really hard to find someone with a perfect face.
Is it also the idea that you want to have a lot of variation so that you go out to all these different countries?
Yes, we're looking for models with many different looks and diversity, and I think that's the look of the future.
And what did Veronica have that was special? Why did you choose her?
I think Veronica has incredible, hot, Latin beauty. She happens to be blonde, but is very warm. Sylph-like.
But Veronica, am I right that you just started modeling a few months ago?
3 months ago, yeah.
So what is this like to go from a brand new little burgeoning career in modeling to a $250,000 a year contract here?
It's really amazing. It's like a whole new world open to me. It's just, at this moment, I can't believe anything, you know?
So have you decided that this is what you want to do? I mean, because you're studying in school, right?
Yeah.
What are you studying?
High school, 10th grade.
And so, did you have anything in particular that you wanted to be? Have you decided now that you're going to follow this profession, modeling?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes?
I really like it.
What did your mom and dad think about the idea of at 16 you going off to America to do
They're
this?
really proud, but as a lot of people, they say me to be careful, but they're really proud. They can't believe it anyway.
But she does have to go back home.
That's right.
To go to
she
school.
does have to go to school, and she is going to combine it with work at the same time. She has a flexible program.
You're hoping for a lot of understanding teachers?
A lot of very understanding teachers.
I think the contest was open, what, am I right, 15 to what?
15 to 22.
15 to 22. But at 16, is that unusual that it's so young, or are we just getting younger and younger models these days?
It's, you know, we try to pick the best girl that we find from wherever, and it's not really geared towards any age. Veronica happened to be 16, but last year Tricia was 19.
And do they usually have some modeling background, have started a little bit?
Well, 3 months is really no background from when we did the contest, because when we did the contest in Spain, it was 1 month. So, but girls can have modeled up to 2 years.
So what does she do now for you? I mean, are we going to see her on the cover of magazines here in the United States?
You're going to see her on many covers of magazines all over the world.
Isn't that exciting?
It really is.
You know, thinking about all over the world, and maybe you can't point to this, but was there one country this year that seemed to have the most beautiful women?
This year?
Yeah.
You know, last year it was very clearly Canada.
Really?
For a few years, for some reason, it's been Canada. This year it seems to be shifting a little bit.
To what? To which countries?
The European countries. And I think there's a growing interest in Europe in modeling, a growing awareness of modeling as a real career.
I remember a time when it was the Scandinavian countries.
That's right. In Scandinavia, modeling has been accepted for a long time. But this year, France, England, Spain were in the top 4, so that's really this heart of Europe.
And I know that your mom is kind of the mother hen, takes care of all these young girls. Veronica, you staying with Katie's mom?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm staying with them.
Okay, well, your parents then can rest assured you're being well taken care of. Good luck to you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Katie, good to see you.
Thanks. Nice to see you.
And Good Morning America continues in just a moment.
At 5 a.m., all the